going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Viall Files Reality Recap Edition. I am your host, Nick, and boy, do we have an incredible, exciting episode for you today. We went yesterday to Hulu's big showcase. I don't know if it had an official name.
Get Real.
It was Get Real. Play on
Was it all reality television shows?
Yeah, it was Hulu announcing the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives trailer just dropped yesterday. Khloe Kardashian has a new show that they are producing.
Robert Irwin as the first contestant of the new Dancing with the Stars.
Yeah.
There's a lot of announcements in the Hulu.
The Golden
world.
Bachelor.
The
The new Golden Bachelor was announced. He's a newbie. He's a normie.
Did they give you any info, any background on this man?
Yes, he is a former Los Angeles Rams football player.
Still resides in LA.
Resides in LA.
Any women who might live in Fort Lauderdale, or something might want to bounce on over to LA. It's a fun place to go.
Okay, drag Fort Lauderdale.
The inside tea for the Golden Bachelor is there is an extra effort, and I think part of the consideration of picking this new Golden Bachelor. What's his name?
Mel.
Mel? What's his last name?
Owens.
Robbins.
Mel Owens.
Literally.
Mel Owens.
Let them.
Is that him residing in a major city was a plus for them? It's just they're always hoping that they can introduce someone to someone and love happens. And it's just maybe more likely that someone might relocate to a city like Los Angeles than the middle of Indiana. No offense to Indiana.
Beautiful state.
Beautiful state.
Beautiful state.
I'm from Wisconsin. Maybe they don't want to move to Fond du Lac for love. You don't even know where that is.
But it's Joan and
Shakopee.
Chalk got their apartment in New York City, you know? So it's I think having a Golden Bachelor who resides in LA, will definitely be a lot easier to have a connection that lasts.
We showed up a little late to the event. We brought River.
You brought River?
We did.
We did.
How was River's first event?
Well, it wasn't our first event. I did.
excuse me.
We kind of did you feel are we bad parents? I felt like the
Bad.
Coachella mom. I kind of felt like the
Was
Coachella
River the
mom.
only one under?
Absolutely the only baby.
She's definitely the only baby. But to me, it was we're showing everyone that you can have a life and bring your children. Children don't stop you from living your life. They join your life. And that's what she did. They were passing out French fries and she was holding her little French fries, eating her French fries.
Oh my God.
She was walking around, kind of going up to people. She was living her best life. We were not bad
Beauty.
parents.
We had to walk through some loud rooms, but other than that, she's just the only baby there. I was I was worried that people were judging us. And then Jimmy Kimmel showed up.
Oh,
hello,
hello, Jimmy.
He is the host of Late Night with Jimmy Kimmel on ABC, which is part of the Hulu Disney family. Said hi to Jimmy. He recognized me, which was I felt
You're hey, old bud.
Hey, old bud. Got to meet Natalie. He met River.
River stuck her finger in his nose.
Yep.
Oh.
Yeah,
Nice.
she,
I said,
she
well, you
picked,
have a
she
good
picked
She
job.
Jimmy
said,
Kimmel's
"This is
nose.
for all those kids you stole that candy from."
He's great
Oh
with
my God.
Jimmy, I think I've said this before, but Jimmy Kimmel, when I was the Bachelor, you get obviously very cool opportunities. You get to do all these interviews, Ellen, Watch What Happens Live, Jimmy Kimmel, things like that. I got to do some other daytime shows. And everyone was very nice, even Ellen, to me. But Jimmy Kimmel, I got to meet a few times. And when I got to meet him, he was the only host that really took the time to try to give me advice. So I had to do these promos. I came in and me and Jimmy are filming these promos they would do with various bachelors. And when we got done, he's like, "All right, Nick, come here." And he took my mic off. He took his mic off. He brought me into this closet, this little tiny room.
It's
And
not to stay.
I was going to say this. This is starting off.
I am listening.
And he looked at me and he was just "Hey man, I just want to tell you that whatever is going on in your world, and I don't know who's telling you what, but you don't have to get married, And
Thank God for that.
And it was just coming from a very sincere place of hey, I just want to make sure that you're not caught up in this whole Hollywood thing, or producers are insisting you need to follow through with this. At that point, I kind of knew where our relationship wasn't going and was going, but it just felt like he was giving me real human advice and he cared about me as a person.
Right.
And he's the only person who at his level who has ever done that. And I hope I get a chance to have him on the show and tell him that story. It really it meant a lot. He gave me his email once when I came on the show.
He also
a few times I emailed him. He always responded.
He also loves or loved, because it's no longer, my Rations,
Yeah.
the place my sister and her fiance,
Yeah.
the restaurant. He like went there all the time and loved it.
But he was always just a very personable human, like on a human level, and just very generous with his time. And I always appreciate that about Jimmy Kimmel. It's
I
just
love
very
hearing
nice,
stories
but-
like that.
Well, I box dyed my hair.
Oh, did you?
Love that.
She did.
I box dyed it.
I walked into the bathroom and her Victoria Fuller and Natalie are in there and like dyeing her hair, and I was like, "Are you what? Huh?
And it's not purple.
No,
It looks great.
no.
It's not.
Yeah.
I'm jealous.
Actually, I'm like, I haven't box dyed my hair since I was maybe way too young to be getting a hold of a box dye.
Right.
And I like kind of am obsessed.
Oh, box dyeing rocks.
Like I haven't had the time to go to the salon. We've been so busy. And my hair gets this like reddish tint to it. So I was like, I'm just going to go find, like, I don't know what I'm doing, but we'll see.
I love
And
a frugal
honestly,
wife.
Yeah. I literally knew. I
I'm
was like,
frugal.
Nick loves this story.
I'm frugal.
No,
Yes.
it's such a turn on.
Yeah. And and
saved
I
me how
box
much?
dyed it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's like even
Where-
if like you turned your hair green for me.
Literally.
It's not green, by the way. It looks fantastic.
It does.
It looks really, really great. But honestly, I didn't even care. I was like, honestly, however it looks, I love you.
Are we talking a CVS box dye or Sally's Beauty box
No,
dye?
I did like I ordered off Amazon. I did like
Okay.
the Garnier something, I don't know.
Period.
But period. It worked. And it like honestly I feel like my hair is shinier and like
looks
kind of
great.
fuller. And
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, box dye.
It looks way better than George Clooney's.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you guys seen George Clooney's new hair dye? Now, in
Yeah.
his defense, he's doing it for a movie.
I feel like it just ruins
Play.
George. Like that's not
No,
George.
it's not George.
He could have worn a
he
wig.
he really made Gray look.
Well, the thing is, I think
Beautiful.
it's like for a movie, you
It
can
is
pull
for
off.
a movie. Yeah.
I think it's for like Broadway show. So it's like he's doing it
Oh.
every night, and I think that's why he dyed it.
Okay.
Yeah,
Mm.
He's doing this for Broadway.
Yeah.
He must really love acting.
I mean he's George Clooney.
Yeah, I guess.
Mhm.
No, good for him, man. You know, it's
Yeah,
like
he's not fighting with his wife, so he needs something to get people talking.
Like not even one little just like, you're annoying me. You know? Like not
do
one.
they even love each other?
I feel like you can't.
Their
They're-
whole thing is they're so in love.
They're
that
clearly
they,
lying.
they still have never had one argument.
I mean, it just depends on
Nothing
what.
Over
like-
how many years?
Your face annoys me today just because you've been here the whole day. You know, like sometimes, Mary. You know, it's like
I'm not even married and I've gotten mad for less. I'm like, you're
Almost
breathing
11
in my
years.
space.
no, literally.
Almost 11 years.
What's the
11
dumbest thing?
years.
What is the dumbest thing you've gotten mad at me for?
I love this. The dumbest thing that I've gotten mad at you for. I feel like none of them are dumb. So it's like hard for me to like think about like what's dumb because I felt like validated in all of them.
Okay, no, for sure. Yeah.
What's the dumbest thing you've gotten mad at me for?
Well, let me
Oh,
see.
yes, of course.
Like
Let me
you,
pull out my notes
I
app.
definitely feel justified and valid for my frustrations.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
Natalie thinks cooking is turning everything on high.
Oh.
Mm.
Efficient.
thank you.
Rose
Yeah.
pants.
Danny does this.
Get done much
then-
quicker.
And then deciding what ingredients she needs.
Oh.
You know,
Has
Oh,
she
so the
started a
burner.
fire
So you
yet?
go burner on first, and then you're like, okay, let me gather.
Maybe.
You're preheating the pan.
honestly, she's
I don't
kind
recall.
of she's just kind of
Very
wing,
demure.
she's very much winging it.
Hmm.
That's part cooking.
You know what the secret to cooking is?
What?
Winging it.
Knowing getting your ingredients out first?
Time, temperature, and preparation. Like how much you cooking something for? At what temperature does it need to be on? And like, do you have your ingredients ready before you start cooking this shit?
Is this a known thing, the TTP?
I don't know.
Preparation's true, though.
I imagine it is.
Gotta brand it.
Mhm.
You know,
Did you just coin a new term?
I don't think so. I'm pretty sure I haven't. I mean, I don't watch a lot of cooking shows, and I'm not like deep into like the cooking community. But I imagine I'm not making this up.
Natalie loves a little hibachi style. That's all.
Mhm.
I
Turn the
do.
grill up and throw it on after.
I
Yeah.
do.
Begin
I
a
had
little
hibachi
flame.
last night.
No, she loves hibachi. She likes take home. Honestly, that's it.
Take
it
home hibachi?
It irritates me some of the things that she enjoys in terms of food.
Honestly, going out to eat with either of you is
A nightmare.
absolutely difficult.
Yeah.
Usually you could be like, you like Mexican? Do you want sushi? Do you want Italian? I'm supposed to go to dinner with
How many
Natalie.
times have you been out to dinner with us?
Even New York. New York, I was sitting there and I was like, we went to a French restaurant and y'all got burgers and club sandwiches.
What? What do you mean we went to a French
We
restaurant?
went to
The re-
Petit
The
Trois or
restaurant
whatever.
that we went to
Petite?
was a French
Petite,
restaurant.
It's no, hardly.
What do you mean hardly? There's escargot on the menu.
Oh, I'm sorry. I need to get escargot
No,
just
but there's
because
like
there's-
haircut.
There's like I got mussels,
Yeah, yeah.
fries, but it was just like okay.
It's a very American style menu.
100. Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, if I go somewhere with you, I'm like, okay,
They have a
don't
chicken
say
sandwich.
Italian.
They have burgers. They have like.
They have French fries at a French restaurant.
Yeah, there you go. Steak frites.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
I have a question.
Yeah.
Natalie, does it bother you when Nick like gets sick?
He doesn't really get
They really
sick.
don't.
And honestly,
That
Nick
bothers
does
her.
not complain when he's sick, which is really frustrating because I complain a lot. And I would love for him to like also complain so I could be like, well, you were complaining. But he does not. The man has never complained once in his life, which is really shocking.
I don't complain.
When he's sick, he's just like, oh, I'm just like feeling a little achy. And I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. Can I get you anything? He's like, no. I'm like, okay. And then it'll get me sick. And I'm like, ah, I'm dead.
I'm like, are you okay? No.
I think I'm dying.
In fact, I don't think I've ever asked Natalie if she's okay and her go, yeah, I'm okay. Yeah.
Just a little under the weather.
Don't ask if you don't
Her
want the
immediate
truth.
response is always, no, I need something.
It is. Are you okay? I'm like, no, I'm so thirsty. Are you okay? No, my back is killing me.
Truly, I don't like. I'd never heard her go, yeah, I'm pretty good right now.
You're not like, why lie?
Literally.
He's asking.
Literally.
Yeah.
Do you want the truth or not?
Yeah. Sorry if you can't handle that.
Sorry if you can't handle the truth.
I know the story's been out for a minute, but Dylan Efron recently saved 2 women from drowning in Miami, which is so like Dylan
Sexy.
Efron.
Right.
Hot.
You know?
He was probably going like cliff jumping and people were just like swimming and drowning. And he was like, you know what? I am a lifeguard.
but what people aren't talking about is he was with his friends Brennan. Who's Brennan? Is
Just like hometown friend.
just Brennan
Yeah. Just
Mhm.
Brennan.
Normie.
and Sam Asghari. And I'm just curious as to like what were they doing?
I think
Hanging
they
out.
one helped. There were several people. There was like a group of girls like in the ocean, like not being able to swim. And Dylan went and got one, came back, went and got another.
Brennan went with. It was just Sam Asghari who was not a part of the.
Oh, Sam did not help anyone.
No, it said, so I just looked around. There's no lifeguards around. Me and Brennan just look at each other and we just sprinted out there. So I swam in, swam back for another girl. Like
Sam was doing push-ups.
maybe he was helping on the shore.
He was
Mhm.
recording.
Yeah.
He's like, this is definitely going to be good for Instagram later.
Mhm.
Well, the new trailer for season 2 of The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives is out.
It looks
And-
very juicy.
Oh, it is juicy.
Mhm.
I can confirm.
Yes.
It's juicy.
I can't wait.
I'm so excited.
These women give me life.
I've seen the whole thing.
Have you?
I have.
Did you guys see any Mormon Wives last night?
We
Yeah.
some. Well, we didn't see Jen.
I did not see Jen. I did not see Demi, but I saw the rest of
I saw
them.
Demi.
They're looking great.
Looking great, guys. This season,
The poster.
it's
Tell
an
us.
absolute banger.
I want to know.
Well, first of all, let's just play the trailer. Can we play the trailer?
I think Mom Talk's been a positive impact for the Mormon community.
Okay. Life has been a blur. Mom Talk has become a nationwide trend.
I never imagined everything to blow up like this, but it's a double-edged sword.
You're opening up yourself and your family to all kinds of drama.
Can I have a hug?
You can have a handshake.
Where is everyone at?
Whitney wants back in Mom Talk.
Everything feels kind of fake about it. I'm trying to protect Mom Talk. I don't feel like inviting the devil back in.
I think everybody just needs to get the freaking stick out of their. Anyone that comes in at this point is clout chasing. What the hell?
Is that Miranda?
Oh my god.
Miranda is Taylor's ex-best friend.
I'm going to set the record straight on the swinging scandal. Oopsies.
It's gonna get messy, for sure.
How is everything going with Dakota?
Things are just getting worse. I do worry about Dakota's sobriety.
All I wanted is a family.
Things for Zach and I have been pretty rocky.
This is our marriage. This isn't a game.
I think this is going to be a little intense.
You announced we were swingers to the whole universe.
What to do?
No one had sex ever, period.
What the
Who's lying to us?
Hey, don't touch my wife.
Oh, this is crazy.
He's a psychopath.
The police are here.
Mom Talk is turning on each other left and right.
Things went down in Italy at Vanderpump Villa.
She has a cease and desist to keep her from talking about it.
If she comes at me, I will absolutely dominate
me too.
her.
You're manipulative and you know it.
I really think she needs to get over herself.
Let's go.
It's going to destroy the group as a whole.
Will you please cut the camera? I can't do this.
The show must go on.
have chilies.
May 15th, everybody.
Literally.
Wow.
Thank
Can we
God.
just talk about this theme song remix?
Yeah.
It's great.
I need this blasting in my car.
I'm into it. Will Mom Talk survive is real the question. I know that was like a kind of a running joke last season, but like I think it's a legitimate question going into this season.
I mean, it's heightened.
The ending of season 2.
Yeah. No words.
Literally no words.
Sometimes I wonder how people like get over these kinds of fights. Like in reality TV across the board in general, like how people get through it. And it's like, yeah, we're good now. It's like how?
That's what make these women so special and great TV. And I said as much. I saw Macy yesterday. We saw most of them, and I was like, your lady's ability to just be completely honest about your feelings and spare, no punches, and then like be able to like come back the next day and just be like, hey, do you want to go get a soda? Is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
But I was talking, I think, to one of the producers of the show, but like what they kind of speculated is just like, I think it comes from a place of like these women obviously are most of them religious and devout, and there's a lot, you got to be honest, and like we are the beneficiaries of their honesty because like, lying is not good.
Right.
Which we all know that, but like
it's so toxic.
There's an extra layer of like, pressure from their community just to keep it real, I guess. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a wild season. The women already seem to be fighting.
I was going to say, I saw some discourse happening on all of my, even my Bravo blogs.
Crazy. Apparently Jesse's like blocked Demi. I saw Demi post that. She said that her and Taylor aren't in a good place. I mean, which
messy.
is crazy because I feel like Jesse and Demi were like the bestest of friends.
Yeah.
Like genuine friends. And now they're blocked. I mean,
And we have Miranda, who was an OG mom of Mom Talk, wasn't on season 1, was a part of the swinging scandal with Taylor, is joining the cast. So
I feel like with Miranda, we're getting the promise of the premise. Because I feel like season 1 was great, but I feel like I was expecting more swinging drama within. And it was fine. You really got to develop like all the girls and stuff, but they weren't a part of it. And now we're like, oh, there's some like backstory here. I don't know what happened, but something happened.
Yeah.
And we get to see it.
Who's y'all's favorite?
I appreciate them all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I appreciate them all. They're all necessary.
They're all necessary.
They're all necessary.
They're all necessary.
How do you pick a favorite saint?
Truly.
Yeah.
How do you pick a favorite saint?
Exactly.
I do tend to side with the sinners.
Who do you think is the most underrated?
Michaela.
Michaela
I think
so
for
too. I think
sure.
she's so funny.
Her sound bites.
She's
She's fast.
She's fast and she's funny
Well,
and she's witty.
And like, she's so like demure and so like
She's
mindful.
very demure, but like she's ready. Like she's what's
no,
this?
but
I feel like
she's
she's
demure,
been
but like
through
she'll
so
also
much.
like stab a bitch.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's been through a lot. She's willing to say something.
Season 1, we didn't really get to see it all. And then like post season 1 on TikTok, we're like, oh, okay, you're spicy, you're fiery. And I feel like this season we're going to see like Michaela.
Yeah.
She's the Angie Katzenevas of Mormon Wives, and that it takes a second, and she's
Yeah.
I'll never forget when she came and sat at the desk here and someone said like, what do you think of Whitney or something? And she was like, a bitch. Like real fast. Like didn't hesitate.
No, yeah.
I'm going to say Whitney.
I think Whitney might be my favorite as well.
Can I
I
ask?
might be the most obsessed with Whitney.
Yeah.
In a weird like.
Justin just plays that video of her dancing.
Justin watches
Every
it.
day.
Justin watches it all the time.
I'm just
So
kind of
good.
obsessed with it.
She's shameless and I appreciate it.
She's so shameless. She's just able to keep coming back.
She does not
the
care.
way that I would not be able to handle like a whole group of women being mad at me.
She's a consummate professional.
And then she just makes a TikTok like,
Dancing.
Uh-huh.
No, these
The
are
whole
special
internet hating
women.
me.
These are special women.
Yeah.
Before we move on from Hulu Land, can we talk about how Hannah Brown is joining Bachelor in Paradise?
Yes.
I don't understand.
I say happy for. I
No,
think
this is great for Hannah.
great
Brown.
for Hannah.
For
right?
sure.
She's like kind of like been quiet for a while.
Well, she left. She got engaged. She left LA, and then she bought a home with her fiance. And then like he moved out because they like shouldn't live together until they're married.
Oh, he did?
She's written a book. Then she's now written like a fictional book, and I mean, and so like for her to come back to Paradise and kind of, it seems like she's hosting like a champagne room. Like she's the bartender of like a champagne room.
Like if you're
Esque.
Wells is a friend, you're very close with Wells and Sarah. Is this kind of a bit of a demotion?
I
Like
don't
if
think so. I'm sure it's like share the wealth, but I just kind of feel like maybe like Wells is going to be the like daytime, everyday bartender. And then I feel like for maybe rose ceremonies or like maybe like one on the like date situations, like maybe she'll be hosting like her own segment.
But do we need 3 hosts?
That's the question.
You know, like there's only so much airtime.
I mean, I personally wanted Wells to have Jesse's job, so that's where I'm like, I don't know, bringing in a third, how we're balancing the time.
Well, I guess
it takes a lot of communication.
There's also a lot of people.
We're also like bringing in the Goldens, so maybe they're like, we need some extra hands on deck for all these people.
I forgot about that dynamic.
Yeah,
maybe there are 2 different bars.
Which is kind of interesting that they brought back Hannah Brown. I love her, but not like someone from Golden to kind of give, have an older person to help the older people, and then like a Wells to help the younger.
What's their big advice? Like to not marry someone from the franchise?
They both, all 3 of them. Jesse.
Well, Jesse's never been a contestant on the show. Like,
well, what do you mean?
Yes,
He
he
was
was.
the Bachelor.
I'm sorry, he was the Bachelor. That's true. But that was like a whole different like era of the Bachelor. You know, he was like the third. Yeah, you're right.
Still, like none of their hosts have success on the show.
Hey guys, this is fucking crazy. Don't end up with any of these people.
That is kind of interesting.
They love a success story, except
like, and I feel like they could have gone Ashley and Jared, you know, and like had like they found love on Paradise.
Yeah, Jade and Tanner.
Like someone who
Dean and Kaylin.
Well, I'm excited to see Hannah on the beach regardless. And they're in Costa Rica. So like a new era, new location, new beach. It'll be fun.
Sure. Costa Rica, I've heard good things. It's a very beautiful location. I'm a little sad they're not going to that. That place was perfect for that show.
Right.
The old beach.
Sayulita,
we'll see.
Mexico.
All right. Well, up next, Alex Baskin, executive producer of The Valley and many other Bravo shows, is with us next to break down The Valley. It was a wild episode last night, dark even. Before we bring Alex on, who are the people you care most about? Like
Kristen.
Yeah,
Kristen.
Really?
Michelle and
Jesse for me. Give me more of them.
Honestly, I know everybody feels
It's
like it's
so
super
dark and toxic.
dark. Yeah, I was like, but I'm even Jackson and Brittany. Hate to say it.
You're protective over Jesse and Michelle?
No, we want to see
No,
them
I just
on
like
TV.
I want.
I was like, wait.
I misunderstood.
No, I want to
Who
see
we
like
want to see on
when a scene comes on and they're in it,
Okay.
I'm hooked, and when it ends, I'm like, go back
it.
to them.
Yeah.
That's too toxic for me. The Jesse
Zach.
and Michelle.
I really enjoy Zach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Zach, you know,
I want to like
doesn't scratch my itch, but
I heard about the Canadian boyfriend that's moving in and them joking about U-hauling, and I was like, gotta see how this goes.
He's great with one-liners.
Well,
Yeah.
let's ask Alex.
I kind of feel like Jackson Brittany, it feels a bit performative.
You think?
I don't think so.
No, I feel like they're both professionals. I feel like Jax and Brittany do know how to curate a scene. I don't think they're making up these scenes. I do think these like are actual things that are happening in their lives. But I do think they're good at like Jax being like, oh no, fuck this. I'm done filming. Take the cameras away. You know, it's like
That's performative.
Okay, Jax.
But I did
That's embarrassing when you walk out and you come back in.
But
yeah.
I did wonder too if it for like the reality of it all is that he wasn't expecting Brittany to say certain things out loud while they were filming that scene.
Sure. Oh, that's
Yeah.
So that's where I'm like, for him to react that way or be like, fuck this, I'm not filming. Like, you know, I that's why I was like, I feel like this is pretty raw for me because I'm like, it reminded me of like Shay and all that stuff where it's just like getting your dirty laundry exposed and knowing that like 95% they are going to use this.
Yeah.
But also like the phone call with the like
Sheena?
person at the mental facility. Like who
That was weird.
that?
Okay.
That
He's like, hey brother, how are you? It's like, is this your friend? Like who's calling you?
It was a weird
This is not like
conversation.
a receptionist or a doctor at a mental facility.
He's like,
This
yeah,
is
so that'd be like $30,000 for 30 days. Just do the 30 days, dude.
it was so
I think that's
weird.
better than 2 15 days. It was
Yeah.
like, are you selling him a Happy Meal?
A
It
used
was
car?
so weird.
It
yeah.
was kind of bizarre.
When he kicked out Jason and Danny to have the phone call.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, phone call.
All right, you gotta go.
Yeah.
Gotta go. Gotta
Hey
get out
guys,
of
I
here.
gotta
Bye guys.
serious
See you
phone
later.
call.
Thanks
He's
for
like,
coming.
that'll be $30,000 for your mental health.
Weird. It was weird. And then, the Jesse call to Sheena about his like girlfriend, and in his phone it says Sheena Shea, and he's like, "Hey Sheena, this is Jesse, Lolly, and Michelle. We're sitting here together." It's like, are y'all friends or not? Like, why do you have to
having them
say
call
that?
Sheena made it feel a little staged.
Right.
And Sheena's like, verbatim, yes, that is exactly what she said. She even told me who, the guy from Baywatch. It was like, oh my God.
Well, no, she's like, do you want me to tell you who? He's like, no. She's like, well, it was the guy from Baywatch.
Yeah. She's like, no. So here's everything.
But what does it say about Jesse, who immediately, this is his girlfriend?
Allegedly.
Yeah.
Cease and desist, who knows?
Before we even meet
Allegedly.
this girl on TV, he's immediately throwing her under the bus by like calling Sheena his friend and having Sheena just platform a rumor about a person we've never met.
Who is Sue Happy?
What?
Who is Sue Happy?
But also, he wants to move his daughter out to be with this person, and she's got all of this stuff that you're just now finding out about her.
This is the same
Sheena Shea.
woman who texted Michelle being like, I will sue you if you talk about me on this show. And
you said Sue Happy. I was like, is that her name? Sue Happy? Who's Sue Happy?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the stage.
Allegedly.
Sue Happy.
Let's bring in Alex, and we can get some of our burning questions answered. Very excited to talk with him, and he is up next.
Has your dog tried Sundays for Dogs yet? I bet you anything they're going to love it. The best part is that Sundays is not only healthy, but also super easy to store and serve. Most dog foods are either one or the other, healthy but a pain to handle, or convenient but not great for them. But with Sundays, you can get both. It's simple to serve, and you can feel good knowing it's packed with all the good stuff to keep your pup healthy and happy.
Sundays for Dogs was co-founded by Dr. Tori Waxman, a practicing veterinarian who tests and formulates every version of each recipe. Sundays contains 100% natural meats and superfoods and 0 synthetic nutrients and artificial ingredients.
Dog parents report noticeable health improvements in their pups, including softer fur, fresher breath, better poops, and more energy after switching to Sundays. Sundays for Dogs is healthy dog food that's easy to store and serve.
Well, we all know that if you are a dog parent, you love your dogs and want them to enjoy the meals that they are eating. And so if that is you, and I'm sure it is, look to Sundays for Dogs for good food for your dogs that they will love and enjoy. When you start a Sundays for Dogs subscription, you will automatically get 20% off and free shipping on every reorder. Cancel or pause your subscription anytime with your 100% satisfaction guarantee. Every order ships right to your door, so you'll never worry about running out of dog food again. Get 40% off your first order of Sundays. Go to sundaysfordogs.com/VIALL or use code VIALL at checkout.
Spring is here, and we all know that I am struggling with my allergies. And that is why I've been using Beekeepers Naturals nasal spray. Let me tell you, that stuff is so good. We don't go anywhere without it. Beekeepers Naturals products offer convenient on-the-go immune support that supports the whole family's immune system when we're traveling through airports, on road trips, you name it, we're supported. Beekeepers Naturals merge modern science with natural medicine to create clean, effective products that actually work. With their hero ingredient, propolis, the defender of the beehive, a powerful combination of plant and tree resin and enzymes made by bees. It defends your immune system, supports whole body health, and fights oxidative stress with antioxidants.
We always pack our wellness must-haves so nothing slows us down on trips. Propolis Throat Spray is one of our travel essentials. Just spray daily for proactive immune support, and you can double dose whenever you're under the weather. That hero ingredient, propolis, defends against germs on the spot and contains vitamins B, C, D, potent antioxidants, and more. Now the last thing we're worried about is getting sick while traveling.
Today, Beekeepers Naturals is offering you an exclusive offer. Go to beekeepersnaturals.com/VIALL or enter code VIALL to get 20% off your order. That's BEEKEEPERSNATURALS.com/VIALL or enter code VIALL. Beekeepers Naturals products are also available at Target, Whole Foods, Amazon, CVS, and Walgreens.
Alex, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Very excited to have you. I feel like this has been a long time coming.
It has been.
Yeah.
It has been. I'm excited. I'm ready for the torture chamber, all of it.
Torture chamber?
Yeah.
No.
I feel like you're the secret keeper of Bravo.
I mean, until today.
Yes, of course. Yeah. Exactly. Thank you.
Well, I just want to start by saying thank you for all the great TV you've made over the years.
I appreciate it. Yeah. No, thank you for your support of the shows.
Well, it's mutually hopefully beneficial. Yeah. But we've really enjoyed watching you make great TV. Can you just let our audience know, for those who don't know you, what is your role and what has been your involvement with some of the shows that Bravo has put out over the years?
Sure. So currently, I run a production company and we make a bunch of shows, including The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, The Real Housewives of Orange County, Vanderpump Rules, The Valley, Kristen Cavallari's new series, Denise Richards' series, and then a few others that I can discuss soon.
You are booked and busy.
Yeah.
Trying.
Some of our faves, to be
Truly.
honest, on Bravo. Obviously, we want to get into The Valley with you.
Mhm.
You know, we just watched the new episode last night. Beverly Hills just ended. There's obviously been a lot of fallout with Garcelle's exit. And then there's, you know, what's like recently Garcelle
Unfollowed Sutton's brands.
after what happened? Sutton put out like a...
She's put out a statement essentially saying, and this is paraphrased, but like, you know, giving her space, but like she still follows my brands.
And then Garcelle immediately unfollowed her brand.
Follow the brand. She's like, okay, well, thank you for...
thank you for reminding me.
For the sake of clarity.
Yeah.
Do you know anything? I mean, I don't know what you can share, even if you do know things, but like, one, were you surprised as we were that Garcelle did what she did at the reunion and then decided to leave the show? Or did you kind of see it coming?
I wasn't surprised that she left the show after the reunion because I think it was clear that she felt a particular way. And we respect that. And I thought she did it with class and grace. And I thought she had a great 5-year run on the show. And clearly to her, as she thought about what coming back would entail, she just didn't want to do it.
Sure. Okay.
Which I prefer to sort of some of the exits that linger over a couple of years, where a cast member will come back to the show, but not sort of be into it spiritually. So I like the clarity of it. I liked how definitive she was about it.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah. When the production company, and I'm sure there's a collaboration between you guys and Bravo, but when you end a season, what is the process that you guys go through of like deciding, who do we want back? Who's a friend of versus a housewife? And then how do you guys scout for additional talent? We love Bose, by the way. Great. Excellent find.
Yeah.
Just
Truly.
really fantastic. But yeah, how do you guys go through that process?
Well, it really isn't scientific. So we have a series of conversations, and obviously we sort of have them through the season as well. But I would say that between kind of doing an assessment of the current group and then seeing what our casting yields, then we come to something of a consensus. Casting is sort of a process that starts with asking the current group who's close to them, who they know. And by the way, they may actually share that with us. They may withhold that from us. So it depends. They have various sort of reasons for that. So we take a look around and then have a bunch of conversations. And it isn't casting for one thing or another. So I sort of always say people think that we have archetypes in mind and we're looking for an X type. We're really not. And people come in the form, that they are. So, meaning that it might be nice to add someone who is married to the cast, especially, this current group, right? But if you find someone who is single or is going through a divorce and they're a compelling person and they have real relationships with the group, then that's the direction you take.
Interesting.
Do the ladies of the cast that's already cast, do they get a say in who comes in, or like can they push back if they're like, I don't get along with that person, or is that something that would get that new person on quicker?
Yeah, I think they end up realizing over time that ultimatums are a very bad idea. So they pretty much never work out well. I think that we take into account what the complexion of the group will be. And so we don't want to bring someone in merely for the sake of revisiting an old feud or something like that. But they definitely do not get a say, because I don't even think that you could assemble a show. If everybody got a say, got a vote, I don't know what you'd be left with.
That's so true. Yeah.
You mentioned Beverly Hills, the cast was wildly single. And going into the season, I was really, just as a fan, really was hoping that we could see some of these women date. And that really didn't seem to pan out this season. As a producer, do you have those kind of same wish lists and things like that, but ultimately you can't make these women date if they don't want to date? And are those conversations you tried to have with any of these women? And is it still possible that if most of the cast is this core group of women like Dorit and Kyle and Sutton, who remain single, like, are we going to see them get out there and try to live their lives? Because, I think sometimes when it's just the group of friends kind of talking and just living their lives without trying to, grow their lives, it gets you're
Well, we did see Sutton date last season.
Briefly.
She kind of had some blind
which was
dates.
great. I mean, it was nice to see.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I think you want to see a progression of story in their lives, and I definitely think that you hope that they in real life move on from, sort of the sadness of the separation onto what's next. They weren't all there this past season, so they were, in various stages of limbo. And the one thing we would never want to do is fake as though they're dating. So we just don't do that. We don't, look for suitors for them. It's not what we're there to do. But I agree. I mean, I think you want to open up their lives as much as possible. You don't want the show to become insularly about what's going on in the show itself. So it can't just be all about, memes between Kyle and PK. Right. So, so definitely the hope is that, that you see, sort of everything that's going on in their lives. And I do think, the next frontier for them might be, all right, what do we do after the marriage is over?
Do you have a favorite cast? Like over the years, has there been one that's been like, that was just hard to beat?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think that when it's a really cohesive group and when they put it all out there and when they hold each other accountable and when they know even more than we do as production and they call each other out, but they do it because they're all in it together.
Yeah.
That is my favorite.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm often asked too, if I have a favorite cast member, and I would say, that varies daily, right? It depends on who is doing their job.
Is there a Bravo show that you're not a part of, that you, maybe it's another housewife franchise, that you are a fan of or sometimes wish you got some of the energy that some of the other groups have?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's two kinds of shows that I'm a fan of. I think some are shows that just marvel at how well made they are. And there's so many of those shows. And so I've always thought, Top Chef is really well made, and I can appreciate that as a viewer. I look at other shows that are in the docuseries genre, and you'll see when like Summer House has a great season and they're fully dialed in, then there are times where you watch a show like that and you're like, why can't our cast just do that right now? And so it's definitely the case.
That's great. And the Denise in the Wild Things, fun, lots of fun, great comedy. Do you anticipate a season 2?
We hope so. We're kind of figuring that out. Really enjoyed making it. It's fun to make a half-hour comedy. And the thing that I liked about it is it wasn't overly broad. So it wasn't one of those set up family shows, which can be fun, but are stagey. Yeah. I like the fact that, they're very distinct people and they've obviously had a unique life. I think, seeing them sort of grow up over the years and not really knowing them, but seeing them sort of in the shadows. It's fun to see them now as young adults. And Denise is great. Denise is just, who she is. It was fun for me. I went to the meal with Charlie Sheen. So it helped kind of, arrange for that to happen. And I went to that. And it's fascinating for me to watch as a viewer, which means, I think the audience will feel that way too.
Sammy brought that back to my attention, that video, that audio, that interview of him where he's like, if there are drugs, I will find them, is Charlie Sheen. And I'm like, that is crazy that is that same man sitting at this table. She's like, if you want to know why I am the way that I am, like, this is my father. It's crazy.
I had to explain to Natalie, just like, she's
the lore.
The lore. Just like the winning, that whole thing.
Tiger blood.
It's
he's lived many lives.
Truly.
And now he has a great neck.
He does
have a great neck. Well, it's really funny. And Denise looking to camera then was
Oh
really funny. See, I'm also, it's funny, on sort of looking to camera and breaking the fourth wall. I have mixed feelings about it. So I like it when it makes the show more real or that's her expressing herself. I do not like it on the shows. I think when the cast is very self-conscious and when they're playing to the audience. But I thought that moment was really fun. It was very Denise.
And when her and Sammy are taking the Pilates class.
Yes.
And they both kind of look at the camera and be like, well, we are filming, or whatever they said. It was, that was endearing too. Obviously, Vanderpump is iconic and everything that it was. Are you a part of the revamp? How are you feeling about it?
I mean, I'm excited about it. The big thing that I keep emphasizing is we are not trying to do the thing that we did before. We're not trying to make the show that we did before. You can't do that. It's very big, shoes to fill. And so we recognize when we announced it in the first place that we would be met with some skepticism because the audience hasn't yet had a chance to fall in love with the new group. and the new show. But I think we're going to win people over. So I think it's, getting back to core principles. It's a very tight-knit group, works together, lives together, does everything together. And I think it's really fun. I think that, it'll be all of the things that the audience loved about that show in the first place. It'll be, messy and just a fun ride.
Question I have for you, it's kind of like a meta question, and as we kind of segue into the Valley and kind of talk, because like this episode was a little darker, heavy for sure. We recently interviewed Allie Lewber to talk about her experience with James. I'd love to know if you just have any general thoughts on that whole situation. But separately, it's interesting because, we watch these shows, we cover it, break it down, dissect it, talk about these people with the acknowledgement, like a lot of these people we haven't met yet. It is a TV show. There are edits. It's heightened stakes and things like that. But sometimes you are covering very heavy topics. With the Valley, kids are involved and things like that. We were recently talking about the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, and the more we cover it, it's like I have to recognize, while we still are critical and critical of these people, but as fans, it's a bit hypocritical for us to judge all these people while enjoying the very shows that it's like we want the drama, but then we have the nerve almost to judge people for really opening up and sharing their lives with us. And I guess my question to you is, as a producer of these shows, how do you, when you're watching a scene, for example, Jesse and Michelle, do you have opinions as a father or a human being? And how do you separate that between hey, it's my job to let these things play out versus because a lot of fans will make comments this seems wrong, or how do you let that happen? And we'll blame production for certain things. Does that make sense? How do you kind of work through that as a human being, as your job, as a father, and then at the same time letting this play out and letting these people be who they want to be on camera?
Yeah, it's hard. And I think that it's changed a little bit through the years, because I just think as a society, I think that years ago, the idea was, well, we're just documenting what's happening. And the idea was sort of to be more hands off. I think we look at it differently now. It can't be incumbent on us at all times just to run in if we, suspect that someone might be better off but I think there is a responsibility in certain situations, certainly not to heighten what is happening if there is a dangerous situation. And so we definitely intervene, there. And obviously we do have personal feelings, because I never want to be that anesthetized to this, that I'm watching a show that I'm making and feeling nothing, or looking at it as though this is a scripted series. It's people's real lives. Yeah. So I think that on the one hand, it's a lot to reconcile, but I also think it isn't that hard to balance, in the sense that whenever we think someone is in jeopardy or sort of needs our help, then we really are much more responsible than people might want to believe. It is tough with the fandom. I would say the fans do want it both ways. And so if a show is light and fluffy, then, the idea is, well, there's more going on, it isn't really covered, and they want blood. And then when they see something that is very hard hitting, then on the other hand, either they'll think it's too heavy, or then it's somehow incumbent on us to make everything right in the world, which we just can't do, and it's not our job. So it can be tough.
It seems obvious that not just Bravo, but just I think reality TV in general has recognized that they might need to be more involved in certain situations and make sure obviously everyone's safe. But to me, it's more again, back to the Jesse and Michelle scene last night. I mean, everyone's safe. It's just two people who seem to hate each other. And they're talking about their child in a way that makes you go, you want to judge what they're doing. And it's then it's become I'm supporting this as a fan, because I'm oh my God, give me more of this. When you guys cut away from Jesse and Michelle, I'm pissed. I'm no, go back, but I'm also just feeling disgusted at the same time in a weird way. Then it's just kind of fascinating.
Well, sometimes I will take flack if I say something I think that the cast is brave for putting it all out there, and people say, well, what do you mean brave? They're being paid for it. They're on a television show or whatever. I'm no, but I mean that's a lot to open up and a lot to share, and you're opening yourselves up to a lot of criticism. So I do think that it can make for good entertainment to a point. I also think that it's a balancing act for us. And I think if an entire show is that heavy, I think then you would want to look away at a certain point.
Yeah.
Is there like ever like moments where you feel like you want to like interfere but you can't? For example, I know that you did the Brittany and Jax spinoff.
Yeah.
So it's like you watched Brittany go through so much with Jax, and then to fast forward 10 years or 8 years, and we're on the valley doing the same thing. Like, were there ever like moments where you like want to go in and be like, Brittany, what are you doing? But then you're like, also, this is my job.
Sometimes you do, but I also have learned that, you really can't change the trajectory of someone's life. And so sometimes, as we see in these shows, right, like if you'll sense in certain instances that a marriage maybe isn't so strong, people in it might be fighting for it, and they might think that they're better off, and down the line they will learn, they will see. And that's kind of just, sort of what we're observing.
Right.
Yeah.
Also, I mean, like in the case of Brittany, I mean, she's been warned, like
yeah, definitely. But I feel like it just would be hard, like being like years in, being like,
still seeing
can I
the
help
same
you?
behavior,
Be a lifeline or something, But then it's also, you can't really interfere with the story.
Yeah, but well, not only that, but again, with Brittany, it's like, okay, I'm going to be the 15th person who's said, "Are you sure you want to be with Jax?" Where it's just like, she's made her decision of where, her life. It kind of feels like.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree. So I don't think, sort of any of this is all that surprising. I mean, it was funny. Some of the responses when Jax did my podcast, and people were like, "Oh, well, he's revealing this now." And I'm like, well, but everyone might have thought that they knew that he had, issues with drugs, but he wasn't at a point to talk about it. And
Right.
so there you go, right?
Yeah.
And so that's what I would say, is that it all sort of happens in time. And I agree to your point. Oftentimes, a lot of people will have approached the person. Brittany had heard about that from a lot of people, and she had to just go through this.
Yeah. She feels it herself. That's so true.
Back to the James Allie Lewber.
Yeah.
Do you have any just general thoughts on like that story came out after you're done with Vanderpump, seemingly done with this cast? You obviously know these people intimately. There are relationships. What was that story like for you? And do you did you connect with any of them? Obviously Lisa Vanderpump was involved, who you work closely with. Like, what was your take on that situation?
Look, I thought it was horrible on the whole for everybody involved. And so I'm glad at this point that Allie seems like she's in a really good place.
Yeah.
And hopefully James is taking care of himself. I don't know. I was glad, on the other hand, that we weren't doing the series at that point, because that would have been a really tough one to cover. So I think, contrary to what people might think, wasn't sort of thinking, oh, well, we should have cameras up. I thought it was a very dark, tough situation, and mostly just wanted to make sure that everyone, and obviously Allie in particular, was safe.
Yeah.
When Scandoval all happened and we picked back up cameras, when you got the call of like, this is what's happening, what was your reaction?
I couldn't believe it. So I definitely was staggered by it. And I was, one of the few who didn't believe. I thought, in spite of all the evidence that we had to the contrary, I didn't actually think that there was something going on between those two, between Tom and Rachel. And so I was, floored by the fact that it happened and the way that it transpired. And also the other thing is, at that point, Ariana had such a great resolve to tell the story. And I think we all were really worried about her, because we thought her world could come crumbling down. And it was just the opposite. So right away, you could see that she was drawing strength from this. And so remarkable to be in the middle of it. And our instinct right away was, we need to cover this in real time. There was a little bit of pushback to that, because the idea was, well, you're shooting the reunion again in 3 weeks. So, why would you do that? There was, but what ultimately prevailed is we had a series of conversations where we realized we can do this right now. That was a wild ride. Those few weeks after that were extraordinary.
Crazy. So whenever that happened, we hadn't seen the season yet. But obviously we all knew how everything ended. Did you change kind of how the show was edited to kind of show us more of Tom and Rachel's interactions? Because it definitely made people pay more attention to that, knowing how it all ended up.
Well, we didn't. So much of the show was locked. So I want to say the first, I don't remember at this point, but it was like 7 episodes, I want to say, were already locked. And so we definitely, look, we couldn't ignore what we knew was coming with future
Right.
episodes, but it wasn't as radical as people might think. And we also, the other thing is, we had already keyed in on this as story. We just didn't know what the outcome was. It wasn't like we went back and radically changed what we were doing. But clearly, if you're picking interview bites going forward, right, and someone says, and you know where you're going to end, then
Yeah.
you're more likely to use a bite from someone saying, I am very suspicious of this, right?
Yeah.
As opposed to someone saying there's no way there's something happening. I mean, yeah.
Right. That makes sense.
Well, let's just get into the Valley. Obviously, last night's episode was very much heavily centered around Jax and Brittany and him going to get this treatment. My big question, and I've kind of teased in the past with Bravo in general, I call it like TV therapy. How does that work? How do you guys balance and make TV around topics like this, and you bring in like treatment centers and these phone calls and things like that? Like, how are you guys able to do that in an authentic way?
Yeah, I mean, so this unfolded the first week of production. I mean, we were just getting started. And it was like, God, couldn't we just ease into this? But that's, but the world doesn't comply.
Yeah.
And really the first order of business was Jax was going to go and do this. And so we were planning on covering it however we needed to. It was all sort of happening in real time. And so it was honestly on him and on the people around him much more than us, because they were arranging for him to do this. They figured out, sort of which facility he would go into. And then we were kind of picking it up from there.
I've been very critical of Jax over the years watching the show, because it's just like, as someone who mostly knows him through TV, he seems like a low character person. I mean, he just does. You know him way more intimately. Just the way he's able to talk to Brittany.
His line of when Kristen was like, "You've called her fat," and he was like, "I've never called her fat. I like women that look like her." It was like, what the fuck?
Yeah. It's like, there's just like this, I mean, decades of content centered around this guy being terrible to his women partners, gaslighting his friends. Like, how, again, what is your relationship with him? And is it just more like, he is who he is, and you try not to have judgment for someone who, whatever I think of him as a person, he's still very much a star of the show. What is that relationship you have with Jax Taylor?
Well, I think in that case, look, he's so integrated into the group. And so also you're telling Brittany's story, and it's part of Brittany's story. So it isn't like the show is sort of, forcing this to happen. We're just picking up what's really going on. I mean, definitely, to your question, do we as producers have certain judgments or have certain thoughts? I think we do, and we should. I think it's up to us to be fair. So even if we feel a certain way about something, we want to equally weight, both sides, and then the audience can sort of watch and pick it up. Doesn't mean we're giving equal validity to it, but I think that Jax expresses himself in this. I think people are free to sort of make whatever judgment they want. And so with the Valley, not only is Jax Brittany's husband, but also, as you can see, the rest of the group is very much involved in what goes on between them. And so we're really covering it. It's a hard, heavy thing to cover. But we'd be remiss if we weren't telling, really the central story, not just to his life, but to hers.
Outside of Jax and Brittany's storyline, is there a particular storyline that you are excited for the audience to learn more about as this season kind of unpacks?
Yeah, I think there's a few of them. I think that what works out really well with The Valley is that it's a big cast. And I think the story is constantly developing. And so I don't think you end up on the hamster wheel too much. There is heavy story. It's all right there in front of us. And the other thing I would say is that in that show, the story develops on camera. So we're not picking things up after the fact. So you see Jax go to rehab. We don't hear about it. It's not a conversation after. So I think that's compelling. But really, to me, it's that there's a lot of story that is constantly developing. And I sort of think in that show, everyone pulls their weight.
Mm-hmm.
Do you ever notice people self-producing in ways that you find irritating?
All the time.
What's the most irritating?
Oh, it's so annoying. Well, I think the I think sometimes people fight the idea that we cast them on the show to be themselves. And I always say you get in someone's first season on a show, you want them to be who they really are. And the second season and beyond, you want them to be who they used to be. Because the feedback necessarily, changes who they are. So that can be really annoying. And sometimes, I think that you're making a show with a bunch of Reddit threads that are clashing into each other, and that's really annoying. Yeah. So, it's very annoying. But I understand it's also human nature. When you get really strong feedback in different directions, how can you just tune that out? It's hard.
Have you ever been like, cut? No, try again.
Sometimes we do that. Yeah. I mean, sometimes we will say, it's fine. Even if we don't like what someone's saying, that's okay as long as it's authentically what they, who they are and what they want to say. But there are times where I'm like, you can't really believe what you're saying right now. This is total bullshit. Let's be honest.
I'm curious to ask your question as a producer, and you and I have had this conversation long ago offline. Bravo, obviously, Housewives, the franchise has been around for 15, I don't know how many, 20 years?
20 years, I feel like at this point.
When Bravo really started, the zeitgeist of pop culture, TV is different, how we consume things are different. Podcasts didn't even exist when this show started. The way fans cover these shows. 10, 15 years ago, Bravo really was able to kind of control. It's like, all right, we're going to film these group of people for a period of time. We'll edit it. We'll put it on ice for a while. Then it will, we'll play. Then we'll have a reunion. Then we'll start pick up cameras again. And now very much like part of reality TV, our shows like the Viall Files and other shows that, and bloggers and people online talking about it. You have cast members having their own shows and podcasts talking about what's going on, their opinion. And, I know like networks, for example, want to they want to control it. They want to keep it in house. It's like harder to do. And I'm just more for I'm always trying to encourage the networks and production companies to embrace the conversations that are out there and just let this show live outside of itself and just continue to adapt. Because in my experience, the best producers are the ones who are able to adapt. They really, just let this world play out, however it plays out. If it wants to play out online, great. But it's just more content rather than trying to pretend like the world outside of filming doesn't exist, which I feel like was easier for you guys to do 10 years ago. How do you kind of see that as a producer of these shows?
Yeah, I completely agree. I think that we have to embrace the ecosystem. I think that we can't control the world and we shouldn't try to do it. I think we definitely benefit from the constant conversation about the shows. So I think it's super important to the show's popularity. And look, a show is in trouble if no one is talking about it.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I think we have to know that. On the other hand, I think the thing can be frustrating is I think when the outside world overtakes what the show might be about, I think that's an issue. And there's nothing more annoying in a Housewives, for example, when you have this convoluted storyline that is just about dueling appearances on podcasts or just things that people don't really care about. And you're explaining these teeny tiny things that aren't really about their relationship to each other. I think that can be, kind of annoying. And I think you don't want, the people that you're following on the shows just to turn into creatures who just hop between podcasts and say shady things about each other. So that's really annoying.
Sure.
I think you want to filter that out, but I completely agree. We have had to adapt and evolve, and I'm grateful. I think, part of the reason that I have shows that have been on for a long time is we've managed to evolve the shows on their own, right? So even the definition of what a housewife is, I don't even, know exactly what it is in the best possible sense, right? And then on the other hand, we benefit from the fact that there is a super passionate community that is constantly talking about the shows. It's really important to us.
Yeah. Sheena made a quick cameo last night via a phone call. I think there's been speculation that Lala and Schwartz might show up. How did those conversations happen, and how do you balance leveraging the celebrity that, these characters have built through the years of the success of Vanderpump, but all at the same time asking, do we need them? Do they help add to the story? Or is it more like, Sheena needs a paycheck, so we're going to bring her on and things like that?
Well, we definitely felt heading into the second season that we wanted to bring back the entire group from the first season. We were overstuffed anyway. And so there were a lot of rumors that we were bringing on some of the Vanderpump cast to be full-time, and I shut those down. It was not happening. But at the same time, they are a part of that friend group.
Right.
So it makes sense to see them. And frankly, it would be, sort of inauthentic if you didn't see them, because you would be leaving them out solely because that would be a creative decision that you were making. Going forward, who knows? I think, a lot of things are possible. Again, I still think it's a really strong cast, and it's voluminous, already. But we'll see. I think, it's possible that we open it up a little bit, but I like the fact that between the first and second season, we just ran it back with the same group.
Is there a character on the Valley that we might, over the course of this season, form a different opinion of them prior to the one we had of them season 1?
I actually think it's possible for a few of them. So I think it's very early yet because we're in the second episode out of 15, and then we have to shoot the reunion. So God help us all. It'll be a very long day. But yeah, I think so. I think that, just like nobody had on their bingo card that Jesse and Kristen would become friends, I think, the audience may find that they feel differently about a few of the cast members through the season. And again, I think that's the thing that's fun about it, is I think that, it's constantly evolving.
Who are you most fascinated with in this particular cast?
I think it's a very strong group on the whole. I'm really interested in growth. And so I think Brittany has a strong season because I think she asserts herself in a way that she never has. So I find that super compelling as someone who has known her personally for all these years and sort of made, the shows with her. I think same thing with Kristen, and I think she's in a very different place. So it sort of changes for me based on what's happening, but I love seeing someone turn into a different version of themselves and in an unstudied way.
Yeah.
Jumping to Housewives of Orange County. Are y'all still filming or have you wrapped filming?
We're still filming.
Wow. Oof. Damn. I feel like that's a long time, no? Or do I just not have my timeline right?
It's normal. It just feels very long to me.
Okay.
Anything you can tease or share?
Well, we
with
had
us?
Tamra being like, "I'm done. I'm quitting,ing," and then
I'm back a day later.
Yeah, that's how long the season is.
It's like, no, it's
he was ready to be done.
It's strong. I just looked at the first cut of the first episode of 1901, and it's really good. And it's funny because I didn't even I very much know what is happening, but I sort of watched it fresh because it's been such a long season. So I'm excited about it, and I think it'll be a very eventful end of the season as well. And I have no idea what's going to happen.
It's exciting.
Yeah.
It's really exciting.
County. Can you shed any light on the rumors of Debbie Metanopoulos talking about possibly joining the cast of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills?
Yeah, I mean, I will say this. We have not yet made any decisions on what we're doing. So I sort of, as much as anyone, eagerly read those, and it's
You're like, oh
yeah, I'm like, it's
we are
good to know. Can I go home now? So
do you ever there's always a lot of fan speculation, blogs, rumors, ideas. Do you guys ever get ideas from fans where they go, oh, actually, should we look into that person, or should we bring back Lisa Rinna, or stuff like that?
I mean, open to it because but typically they're ideas that we would have thought of. I mean, especially if it comes to bringing someone back, it's like, then, obviously we're aware that might be an option. But yeah, I mean, every once in a while someone will have, a great idea. Just like every once in a while you'll read a tagline and I'm like, but you nailed it.
Do you ever see something online with your cast members outside of filming where you do wish you were filming? Like, for example, recently Kyle and Teddy were out walking the streets of Beverly Hills and seemed to get in a dispute with a dog walking lady without any audio that we all saw it, but we all want to know.
No one had mics on.
What happened? What went down? And are you watching it like us? Like us being like, oh fuck.
Well, it was so funny. So Kyle sent me that video right as it happened, and I wrote back to her, "Give that lady a diamond." But yeah, no, that happens all the time. But you kind of accept at this point that you're just not going to be able to catch everything. We used to feel that way about Vanderpump because there was so much turmoil in that group that like the minute that you put down cameras, you were missing story.
Yeah.
But what are you going to do? Right?
Yeah,
I mean,
that
you
had
can't
to
be
have
there
been
for
like
everything.
frustrating for so long, and then at some point you're like, oh, God, I just got to give it up.
Yeah, you
know?
submit yourself to it. It's like at that point we're doing 20 episodes. You know,
Yeah,
kind of stuff.
yeah.
Do you guys ever have conversation? Like, for example, Love Island is a show that is like essentially almost live. You know, the turnaround is
Insane.
insane.
Yeah.
The way technology is going, AI, the world's just more fast paced. News is old so fast. Do you ever see a world where, you know, production companies like yours, Bravo in general, it's more like Truman Show and real time, like docuseries and getting content out there? Is that something like you wish the technology was available to you, or are you almost like oh, like we're too much is changing too fast?
It's a great question. I think that a sort of faster intake would be great in certain circumstances. Obviously, the Kardashians did it because, you know, the previous iteration of their show felt like old news when you were watching it. Because you had already
so
consumed,
much happens with them.
you'd already consumed the story, and so
And
you're
they're just so out there in the public, and they're being covered constantly.
Totally.
Yeah.
So I think it's a little bit different when the stories aren't already out there, but I do think that sometimes I think we could increase our metabolism. And look, for me, that would mean fewer notes. So I'm okay with that.
All right.
You mentioned Kyle texted you. There's a narrative out there that Kyle kind of calls the shots on Beverly Hills. Would you say that's accurate, or would you say that's just complete, like, she's just been there, she knows her thing, and people are just making that up?
It's so funny because I always laugh at that. It's like the idea that any one person on the shows could call their shots. Like, I was having a conversation with someone recently, a prospective cast member of Beverly Hills, and she was saying that someone is like, you know, someone high profile, and was like, will I get an EP credit on the show? And I was like, that is such a laugh because nobody gets a credit. Nobody has any say whatsoever. And so it isn't
Also,
true.
I feel like you wouldn't want to as a housewife. Like, then it just makes you look like you're too in it. You know, it's like if you have a producer credit, it's like,
Well, Vicky Gundelson is still very upset
really
that
wants
she
her
does
producer.
not have editing rights, and she very much thinks she deserves it
Yes,
and wants
she
to
said
come
that on
back.
the show.
Well,
but only if she is a producer on the show, because
Executive.
she credits herself for the entire success of it.
Well, I think when she launches Woohoo Productions, I think she can, you know, she can produce her own shows. But yeah, I mean, no, and it would be impossible in a show like that for anyone, you know, to have that sort of power. You couldn't make it. And look, there's been plenty of things that Kyle hasn't loved in the show.
True.
Yeah.
I'm just asking for a friend. What requirements does it take for somebody to get on a Housewives series, like for them to be considered?
Ooh, good
Well,
question.
I think it's sort of a bunch of different qualities. Obviously, you're looking for someone who makes sense within that group,
Okay.
right?
Mhm.
And so the more connected they are, the better. And I think someone who captures your imagination. So someone who has a different point of view, someone who is, you know, unafraid to express that point of view. I think someone who, you know, I always say sort of both fits in and stands out, you know, that kind of thing. And so, and at this point, we're attracted to originals. So I think if you watch someone in casting and it feels like you've already seen them before
Okay.
in some way, you're less
Mhm.
attracted to them.
Yeah.
Just taking notes.
Is Katie on the next season of Orange County? Did she get brought back?
Katie's on the season.
Katie
Yeah.
is. Okay.
Yeah.
I felt like she honestly was a good cast. I felt like she was bringing the like outside interaction she had with Heather, you know, and bringing him to the show and not afraid to bring the rumors. I felt like she was a pretty good cast.
It was a good group. It was a good season. That show's had a couple strong seasons in
Yeah.
a row.
Is Alexis back?
Alexis is not on this season.
And I thought that, and I'm curious because she was such a big part of last
Yeah.
season and such a big part of the storyline between her and Shannon. And it makes a lot of sense why she's not back, given that relationship and the importance of Shannon, at least right now, to the show. But as a producer of a show that relied so heavily on one character and a storyline, yeah, like, is that something you go into a season a little nervous about? And yeah, how do you make those difficult decisions?
Yeah, I mean, at that point, to your point, it wouldn't really have made sense because, and I don't know that there was anywhere to go from there.
Yeah.
And, I mean, what are they going to get together and throw her a bridal shower? Right? I mean,
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
but I think everyone has to step up and fill that void. And then we were excited to have Gretchen back. And so, that felt like we also were injecting something, that's both new into the group, but then also makes sense and has a history with the group. So I don't mind that. And I don't think that the formula of a previous season is necessarily the same for the next season.
Awesome.
Okay. I feel like we could pick your brain all day long.
Yeah, literally. I'm like, so you're saying there's a chance.
Anything you want to leave us with before we let you go?
I don't think so. I would say the other project that I'm excited about is the Kristen Cavallari series for E.
Yeah. So is that her podcast tour? Is that what it is?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
I saw her post about that.
Yeah, it's a fun blend of the podcast itself and then also the tour.
Okay. I heard her say she kind of, I don't know if she said regretted, but I think about showing her children in the first Very Cavallari that she did. Is her family life a little bit more involved in this show that you're doing?
It is. It was a show that we shot very quickly because the tour obviously was super compressed. So you see some of her kids as she's getting ready for the tour.
Okay.
And it's great to see. I mean, it's fun to see her as a mom.
Yeah.
And it's cool. She's, obviously such a pro at this and so open that it's fun to see her both, when she's sort of performing and doing the podcast itself, and then also just kind of, hanging out and letting loose.
Love. How fast did that come together?
Really fast, because it's great when you need an answer on a project because you're chasing, a deadline.
Yeah.
And so that was we were picked up in January and the tour was in March, and then it airs, airs in June.
Amazing.
Yeah.
It's wild.
Well, Alex, this has been a ton of fun. Please come back. Hopefully we weren't too hard on you.
No, not at all. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's thanks again for making such great TV and giving us some insight on the shows that we love watching, and excited to see these new projects and excited to see the Valley continue to unfold. It seems like a really good season. I'm very locked in, and just great to talk with you.
I appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Alex Baskin, everybody. Always fun to talk to the creators of these shows.
Honestly, that's so cool and
I love
exciting for me. Like, that's like my nerd kink. Like, I'm like, oh my God, tell me more.
But also it's just nice to hear from them, because I think when it comes to these types of shows, there's always so much interest and speculation. And like I always say, like, specifically like Bachelor producers, like people talk about producers as if they're like these kind of mythical, like people you never really see, and they act like it's like three wizards in a tower, like
manipulating the minds,
like puppet masters. And it's like, these are people with jobs. They're like creative jobs. And like, you just kind of hear them talk. It's just like, it's so cool. It's a very unique job. Like, for example, like watching The Valley back or just watching Mormon Housewives. Like, we do have to recognize as fans, like, we enjoy the drama, the toxicity.
Of
like,
course.
it's like, it's how much can you, we do judge. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like when Jesse and Michelle are having this conversation, like it's hard not to judge two people who seem to be like inserting their child into their drama.
Jesse saying he wants to prioritize his
What do you say? Yes.
his career, like his professional life, his single dad life, and his private life. It
Yeah.
was like, isn't your private life and your single dad
dad
life
life
the
the same?
same? Like, okay.
And why does he talk like he still expects Michelle to like care about his like loneliness?
It's so toxic
But then
though, because Michelle's like, you always cry. Like, you want to make me look cold.
I
And
know,
it's like-
that was crazy.
It's like, this is a lot of like fighting that like.
It was like
I
she
don't know.
knows him so well to know that like, oh, these cameras are up and you're crying because you know that like that's gonna like win people over and I'm gonna look like this.
And then he
cold
calls
bitch.
Sheena to like have someone out that she was hooking up with the Baywatch guy or kissing him, and
But
it's
it
like
never-
this is tit for tat. Like,
But is it working for anyone? Like Jesse comes across like a good guy.
Well, that's what even my boyfriend's back in town, so we rewatched the first episode going into the second episode, and it's just kind of like even the apology to Kristen. It's like, would that have happened if we're not going through this divorce and trying to win sides?
What when he the schedule, he's like, this is the new schedule, and this is what
Yeah.
you're. Excuse me? Like,
and he's like, and then you're gonna drop her off to the nanny, and she's like, "What nanny?" And he's like, "It doesn't matter." And it's like,
That doesn't
It's my
matter?
child is gonna be picked up by
like,
this person.
nothing says bad dad. Like, I don't care who takes care of my kid when I'm not
But
there.
As long as she's not with you.
it's also just giving like a toxic divorce. Because I will say that's very realistic communication the way that they're doing it on camera.
Yeah, I mean, again,
Yeah.
it's hard. It's hard to sit there and say to judge. It's a fascinating thing.
To your original point, like it's like I feel like I enjoy reality TV so much because I do feel like it's like psychology 101. there's a bunch of situations that are in people's real lives that I may never experience, hopefully will never experience, but seeing how people handle it, and it's like you think to yourself like, oh, I would do this so differently, or like I can't believe they're doing this with cameras there, but it's just like, no, this is their real lives and how they're reacting to things, and not everybody has a great on-camera reaction.
There were 2 moments where I empathized with Jax and Jesse.
Yeah.
And it was centered around the same topic. There was a scene where Michelle was FaceTiming her boyfriend to her daughter, and she goes, I love you.
Yeah.
I don't know how long they've been dating. I understand that, like, when you get a divorce and you date, and like certainly you want people to care for your children's, you know, I never want to think about Natalie and I not working out, but you know, it's just like, it's not like you want your child to be around someone who hates them, but it sure felt a little icky almost to like have this strange man who like may or may not be in Michelle's future 2 years from now. They just started dating, who knows, to like be saying, I love you to this. If I'm Jesse, I'm like, what? Are you fucking kidding me? Like, that would be so hurtful. And despite like me having almost no empathy or understanding for Jax Taylor, when he was like, you're sending pictures of my kid to some guy you're dating, would make me uncomfortable.
Right.
Like, you know, like, and maybe that is a territorial thing, you know, like I feel incredibly blessed and grateful. Like when I watch these shows, it's just like, I'm so grateful of what we have, and it just makes me be like, more like determined to like make sure we protect our relationship. It's just like I'm so grateful to not be going through what they're going through, and I have so much empathy for parents who go through divorce and the children who go through it, because like watching the show, it just like it's such a sad situation.
It is, but I'm like, that's what I do appreciate about it, where I'm like, a lot of people are like, oh, it's really sad or it's really depressing, it's dark to watch, but I'm like, no, this is like real life, and this is like the age group in which some relationships aren't working out.
I could watch, honestly, the whole episode could have been Jesse and Michelle, and I would have watched.
Side note, there's a show called Couples Therapy, and it's very, very interesting to watch.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and you know, Jasmine, my former act. No, you know, Jasmine, who was on my season of The Bachelor, who made an exit by choking me. You really knew in that moment she was more meant for Bravo than for ABC Disney.
True.
You know, like who wouldn't? I didn't realize that she was auditioning for The Valley way back when.
I will say the Brittany finding the thong with the baby wipe on it looked
unhinged.
It looked placed.
Oh, for sure.
It looked like Jax was like, oh, Brittany's coming over. Maybe she left her thong, but like the baby, like I'm trying to think of like my actions, and I'm not sure where those would fall. You know, I don't know how the baby wipe is on top of the panties.
You have a point. You're hiding the evidence. You're throwing the baby wipe away.
Literally.
Right?
Why are you leaving the baby wipe on the counter? But then again, I did see Jax pour a big gulp into a like Stanley or something, and then put the empty big gulp plastic cup in the sink. In the sink. It was like, okay.
Yeah.
I guess.
It's tit for tat, because then Jax invited her over to stay in the house because he found the photos on Brittany's iPad or whatever it was. So it's like, it's couples literally just tit for tatting.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I have kind of a hard time with the Valley, and I think it's like, maybe it's my own like emotional immaturity of just, it's a completely different point in my life where like, it's like to watch Vanderpump, like Vanderpump hits me way harder because I'm like, these are my people.
Southern hospitality.
Southern hospitality, like that works for me, but like the Southern Charm still works for me because they are Peter Pans. But I think the Valley, it's like, it's just kind of mind warping.
You know what?
to
You're
me.
probably watching in I don't know, maybe this is like
I'm watching in fear.
I don't know, but like when I was your age, when you see things like Jesse and Michelle fighting over a divorce, you think that will never happen to me. You know, there's so many like adult things that when you're younger, you just assume that shit's not going to happen to me. I'm not going to cheat. I'm not going to get cheated on.
Yeah.
I would never do that with my partner. And if we got divorced, and like, yeah, and I'm watching it like thinking, I'm so lucky to not have to be in this position, and thank God, like, and then it like warns you of like how delicate these things can be, you know, like,
Well,
but
it
you're
says
right.
no one plans for divorce, you
Yeah.
know, like no one's going into a marriage being like, well, this is definitely going to end.
But like, especially when it's like not something that's prevalent in your life, though, you just can't relate. Because that reminds me when I was younger, I would watch The OC and then I would fast forward through the adults like scenes because I was like, what? I don't give a shit. And now when I watch it, it's like I relate to them so hard. I'm like, oh my God, no, she just cares. She just,
Yeah.
But it's like, annoying mom, let's get to the teens.
You know, that made me think about your comment. I was last night, and I don't know if this was like a I'm high thought. It probably was.
Can we have more of these? Sorry.
But I was in the line at Chipotle.
Great start.
Checks out.
Yeah.
Literally.
And it really, I had like a moment. I had like, and maybe, I don't know, but like Chipotle, what I love about the line, not Chipotle, the line of Chipotle.
You hadn't thought about the line.
The line organization. I have a lot of feelings about line organization.
No, I was grateful. I was grateful for the line at Chipotle. It is an incredibly diverse line. And I don't like diverse in so many ways, but age diverse, you know, and I got there and I'm in line and I saw different people at different stages in their life.
All getting the same
And
bowl.
it reminded me of like when I was in college going to Chipotle, you know, and I saw like two girls who were like were like in a study group. And then I saw some other, you know, it's like, like this guy, he's here because this is all he can afford. And like this person, you know, and I was like looking at everyone in line trying to figure out the stage of their life of Chipotle because it really is inclusive.
Meanwhile, I'm at home bathing our daughter.
The way like We
where
Are the
the
World.
fuck is he?
The way We Are the World is playing in the background of my mind as he's telling this story.
Yeah, I was just like,
Honestly,
wow,
that's
really,
beautiful.
it
That is
really just
beautiful.
like, it made me like reflect on like, I honestly like the various, I mean, I've reinvented myself in so many ways and just, it really reminded me of just the different stages of my life when I was in line at Chipotle. And I'm still going in line at Chipotle at a different stage of my life, being like, I remember that stage of life and I remember that stage of life. And it was like,
That's cute.
thank you, Chipotle, for this like reflection
Wow,
in
that's
my
actually
life.
really
That's
beautiful.
Yeah,
Really
thank you.
deep.
Yeah, thank you,
really
marijuana.
deep.
You have,
Yeah.
you have to go the next step now and perceive yourself standing in the Chipotle while someone else is thinking of you as a stage of life.
Yeah.
There you go.
Wow.
Wow.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Well-
But anyway, yeah, that's why the valley isn't hitting for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it is for me.
Can we talk about Meredith real fast?
Yeah.
What is going on? Mary's been tracking this. There's a lot of like,
Of course you
Meredith,
have.
I've been
Meredith
on the
quit,
ground.
she was fired, she's paused, she's back.
Reports as the Meredith source who's been following the story very closely. Basically on Twitter, like last week?
Mhm.
So rumors start circulating on Twitter. It's unclear where the source is coming from that Meredith has been suspended from Real Housewives of Salt Lake City after getting into a huge fight with Brittany. And this is all very confusing. I, as a reporter, am trying to track down the source of this information. And it's very unclear. It's coming from like Twitter blogs and stuff like that. So it's unclear whether this is trustworthy or not. And then a source, which is a very, yes, allegedly, a source which has a very specific cadence to it,
Tone. Yeah.
reports
Allegedly.
the U.S. Sun that says Meredith has not been suspended from the show. She is not pleased about the rumors and nastiness, pun intended. She wouldn't be surprised if the call was coming from inside the house and Brittany was leaking all of this
Okay.
herself to stay relevant. Meredith and Brittany get into some pretty nasty altercations and have some blowout fights, but nothing that warrants a suspension. Then, while all of this is happening, Meredith's Instagram account continuing as normal. She's posting quotes from Albert Camus. She is hanging out with Luann de Lesseps in an elevator drunk and singing. She is
Photoshopping the fuck out of her face.
She's photoshopping the fuck out of her
As
face.
she should.
As she should.
If she wants.
No.
And posting what she does her tagline basically to dispel the rumors that what is it, like jealousy is a disease
Something.
or
yeah.
something like that. Yeah. And then the last update I have from Meredith is that she sprained her toe and she's upset about it because she can't get a pedicure. So that's what's coming from the Meredith camp.
We need to ban Photoshop for housewives. It's gotten to the point of ridiculousness.
There's specific Photoshops that I'm not okay, that I think are funny. It's when they take the confessional that we've all seen
Mm-hmm.
and then Photoshop on
The
top of it as
confession.
if we've never seen the original photo.
Which don't they already put like a glam filter on the
No,
confessional?
it's
is
when
what
like,
I've
when
heard.
it's an entirely different person. Well, like Meredith's Photoshop looks a younger version of her daughter.
It's face app, and this filter needs to be eliminated from housewives' phones
It
because
doesn't even
they're
look
all,
like 'em.
They're all using the
Yeah.
same one.
It's Hollywood
if you put these
2 or
photos,
whatever, yeah.
if you
Yeah.
put these photos next to each other, they all have the same face.
You have Ramona looking like a newborn child.
But why? they don't
Teresa
look good.
Giudice.
It doesn't. It's not even like, oh, fresh face. It's just like, oh, someone's been moisturizing. No, someone changed their face. It's like, you know what I'm saying? You're not fooling anyone.
Yeah.
My favorite's the Ramona though, like posting the story and then the post.
That's what I'm saying. Like, hide the evidence. Don't do the photos we've all seen. You know?
Yeah. The source from the U.S. Sun. It sounds like Meredith was like, "Hey, I'm gonna tell you this, but like change it up. Don't make it seem like it's me." And then they did it. It's like when you like copy someone's homework, they're like, "Yeah, sure, you can copy, but like change it a little bit."
And especially when you're Meredith and you have such a specific way of speaking.
And so it came out, and Meredith was like, "Fuckers!" Like I told him to change a couple words.
I would never. No, my Meredith's kind of gone.
Oh no.
Is a call back to the Valley?
Yeah.
Zach.
Mhm.
Zach.
He made it seem like dick pics are an early exchange in the dating process in the gay community.
I mean, he also, this is my own interpretation, met him on Grindr, which is an app that's for more than just dating, because he goes in quotes a dating app, which I'm like, okay. So I mean, it makes sense to what he's saying specifically for that context.
But it's not as if like, hi, what's your name? Brett. Here's my dick. Because that's what Zach was basically saying.
On that app, it is.
On that app. Okay.
Maybe not even a hi, just picture.
I think instead of like
You lead with
profile
dick.
photos,
Mhm.
it's
Okay.
anatomy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There was also, speaking of Salt Lake City, did you see this, Nick? A video of Michael Jordan getting off of a yacht, and like there's a girl in front of him that gets off first that looks almost identical to Whitney Rose. And like everybody's tagging her, being like, is this you? Is this you? Why are you on a yacht with Michael Jordan? And she hasn't confirmed
She
whether
hasn't
it's her or
said
not,
anything?
but she did say, why is everybody tagging me in this? So I'm assuming that means it's
not her. It's definitely
But it looks
not
like
her.
her, right?
I didn't look that deep at it because I just assume it was not.
It's definitely not her, but she's wearing like a Whitney Rose fit too.
I mean,
with
it's
the ginger hair. So it's like
That's 100% her.
That's Whitney Rose.
That's what I'm
That is
saying.
her.
I'm like, the appearance is identical. It's a very
Yes, it is.
Send me that photo.
That is her.
What are the odds that a girl dyed her hair ginger the same time that she had ginger hair?
Okay, well, a lot of
Listen,
people do
I
that.
think
Strawberry
she's
blonde is
friends
in.
with Michael Jordan's like wife or daughter or someone.
Should I just text Whitney and ask her?
Yeah. Hey,
Yeah, you should.
this you.
It definitely looks like her, but like it definitely could not be her.
But also, if it was her, why would she not flex that she was hanging out with Michael Jordan?
She reposted the video, so she's making fun of it.
So it's not her.
Who knows?
Because if I'm on a yacht hanging out with Michael Jordan, I'm gonna
I'm
be
posting
like,
about it. Yeah.
yeah.
All right, I don't have a number saved. I'll text her later.
Nick, you gotta save numbers.
Nick, you gotta get to the bottom of this.
He's got to start saving numbers.
I do.
You gotta save
Well,
numbers.
Let the speculation continue. Thank you to our guest, Alex Baskin, for giving us all the insight on all things Bravo, specifically the Valley. Be sure to check out Viall Files Plus for all your weekly updates on all your pop culture topics we didn't get to talk about this week, plus your update specials of all the Ask Nick update callers, our Vanderpump recaps, all available on Plus. It's free to sign up. Try it for 7 days. Whether you listen to this show on Apple, you can sign up directly from Viall Files Plus there, or you go to viallfiles.com. You do not have to sign up at both places. It's one or the other. But check it out. You will not regret it. I promise you that. Also, if you're interested in getting our newsletter,
Link is in the bio, but also go to viallfiles.com and click the tab newsletter where you can enter your email and sign up for the newsletter. It's a fun time.
It
it's
rocks.
a fun time.
We have a
All right.
playlist.
Well, that will do it for this week. We'll see you on Monday. Bye-bye. Hey guys, if you loved what you listened to, make sure you hit that subscribe button below. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.